Good morning. We'll start with a new chapter, Direct and Inverse Proportion, Session 1. So, what is this direct and inverse proportion? So, the name, if you see, is something different, but when we talk about direct proportion, I'll explain this with an example you will come to know. Now, assume that you are buying one book, okay? So, that one book will cost you 10 rupees. Now, you will buy 5 books. So 5 books will cost you more or less? Definitely more. It will cost you 50 rupees. If you buy 10 books, it will cost you 100 rupees. That means as the number of books increases, the cost also increases. Am I right? Anything you can check it here. Wherever the number of things increases, the cost also increases. If I go in the other way, if I take 10 books, I have to pay 100. If I take 5 books, I have to pay 50. If I take 1 book, I have to pay 10. If number decreases, then automatically the cost also decreases, right? The proportion where the number of one entity is directly proportional to the other entity. If I talk about this is x, this is directly proportional to y. Directly proportional when we use is if one increases, other increases. If one decreases, other also decreases. Let us talk about inverse now. Okay, so you have a group discussion or you have a group project to be done. So if there are 10 students in a group and another group there are 5 students. Another group there are only 2 students. I have given you have to complete the project, right? 10 students will complete the project. Say they will take 1 week time to complete the project. 10 students. 5 students are there. They will take 2 weeks time. 2 students will take 3 weeks time. So what is happening here? More number of students are there. Easily the working hands are more. Easily the work is done. So within a week you are able to complete the project. Number of students are very less in a particular group. They will take 2 weeks because very less working hands. The work is more. They require more time. Only 2 students. They take 3 weeks. What did we see here? Once the number of students, if the number of students decreases, the work done by them or time taken to do the work increases, right? So if one entity is decreasing, another is increasing. Suppose laborers are there, they have to work. If there are only 5 laborers, they take 6 hours. If there are 10 laborers, they will finish the work in 3 hours. That means more number of men are there. Time taken to finish the work is very less. Easily you will get it done. So here we can say if one entity is inversely proportional to other. Here if one increases, other also increases. One decreases, other decreases. Directly proportional. Inversely proportional. If one entity decreases, another increases. Or if one increases, another decreases. This is direct and inverse proportion, and which we are going to see that in numericals. Now, numerically how to understand here, you have a particular formula. When we talk about a direct proportion, the formula for that is x1 by y1 is equal to x2 by y2. When we talk about the inverse proportion, the formula will come because here it is x1 is equal to, or here simply we can say x is equal to y. Here when we talk about, in inverse proportion when we talk about, x1 y1 is equal to x2 y2. Or simple, let's not understand by this, that will create confusion. Remember this formula for direct proportion, that is more than enough, children. Inverse proportion when we talk about x1 by x2 is equal to y2 by y1. This is the formula for inverse proportion. Okay. So you have to write down this. Where is it given? Go to this chapter. last page, that is a summary, what you know about this, it is given. What we have discussed, it is given there. 2 points are given, only 2 points. Just write down those 2 points that contains what I have explained here. Okay. So immediately we can start with an exercise. Only 2 exercises, where one exercise is about direct proportion, another exercise is about inverse proportion with some combination of direct proportion also. We'll start with an exercise quickly. Okay. Exercise first one. Following are the car parking charges near railway station up to 4 hours 60 rupees, 8 hours 100, 12 hours 140 and 24 hours 180. Check if the parking charges are in direct proportion to the time. Let us check whether each, for example, if I am parking for this 2 hours, parking for 4 hours or 6 hours, are they charging me proportionally with that respect? I need to check here. So, first one, 60 upon 4, that is equal to 15 rupees. Next is 100 upon 8, that is equal to 25 by 2 rupees. Of course not, they are not proportional, you will come to know here only. The next is 140 by 12, that is equal to 35 by 3. 4 3s are 4 35s are not proportional, right? 180 upon 24 is equal to 15 by 2. 12 2s are 12 15s are. Since the values are not same, hence not in direct proportion. Okay, let's quickly start. This is what you have to do with the first sum. Let's quickly start with the next one. A mixture of paint is prepared by, now how do you know that these all sum are direct? Because it is given in the first exercise, it is direct, we know. But we have to understand by reading the question first of all. Now, generally they are from direct because it is from the first exercise. But we need to know from the question always, children. Examination point of view, if I give this question, you should know to identify whether it is direct or inverse. Answer will differ, that's why. A mixture of paint is prepared by mixing. They have already given you the tabular column. We have to make tabular columns for all here. Parts of red pigment and parts of base. Okay, parts of red pigment and parts of base is given. So red pigment they have given it as 1, 4, 7, 12 and 20. Parts of base is given as 8. So according to this is x and this is y. x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3. Look at the question. Parts of red pigment and parts of base. We know that base is added and more and pigment is added very less. Color pigment. If you are using one part of colored pigment, red pigment, base is added 8 times. 4 parts of pigment if you are adding, base is added more or less, definitely more, right? So that is how, therefore, reading this, the given, always we have to write this, data, we have to cross check by given values and then write. Given data is in direct proportion. Okay. So, if it is in direct proportion, let us just find out what is the formula. x1 by y1 is equal to x2 by y2. Always consider the first one. 1 by 8, it's only substituting, children, divided by 4 upon y2. Okay, we'll consider this as y2. If you want, you write here. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, x4, y4, x5, y5. So cross multiply. y2 is equal to 4 into 8. So y2 is equal to 32. We'll fill that later. This is the first part. Second part, do it one below the other since I am doing it here. Second part we will read. See, you can compare the next question as x2 y2 into x3 y3. You can also compare that with first one. I always compare with first one because my calculations will become very simple. x1 upon y1 is equal to x3 upon y3. So this is 1 by 8 is equal to 7 by y3. y3 is equal to 7 into 8. y3 is equal to 56. We'll do the fill in the blanks later there. Third one, x1 y1 is equal to x4 y4. So 1 upon 8 is equal to 12 upon y4. So y4 is equal to 12 into 8. 12 is 96. Last, fourth one. x1 y1 is equal to x5 y5. So 1 upon 8 is equal to 20 upon y5. So y5 is equal to 20 into 8. y5 is equal to 160. You can fill in the blanks here. That's all we have to do and calculate. What I have applied in the first sum, children, second sum, right from second sum to 10th sum, I am using the same thing without any changes. No, thing is because it is already I know it is in direct proportion. So, but we need to write this for every question because in exam we don't know the question will be from direct or inverse, right? So the statement has to be always written and then apply with this formula. Quickly, we'll start with the next one. Now, next one I'm going to give you for homework, but then only single data is given. How to find? Because the remaining sums what I do again, that will also have a single data. Third and fourth you can mark for homework. You will get it and you will get to know that with respect to fifth one when I do. All are same here. Only two data are asked. One data is asked. A photograph of bacteria enlarged 500 times. Bacteria, no statement here, okay? Bacteria photo enlarged. Okay? So, how many times it is? 50,000 times attains a length of 5 centimeter. Very clear how I have written? X and Y. So this is your X1. Okay, we'll write it here. Separately we can have some space. Next time when I write now, I'll have some space in writing. X1, Y1. Okay. What is the actual length of the bacteria? What is the actual length of the bacteria? If the photograph is magnified 20,000 times. Understood how to write the table children here? The same way you have to write third table, the same way you have to write fourth table. The given data, what do you think the given data is in? It is in direct proportion. The given data, please write this always. X1 y1 is equal to x2 y2. So this is 50,000 divided by 5 is equal to 20,000 divided by y2. 5 into 20,000 divided by 50,000. 3 zeros, 1 0, 1 0. 5 and 5. y2 is equal to 2 centimeter. Let's start the next. Sixth one. In a model of a ship, the mast is 9 centimeter high while the mast of the actual ship is 12 meter high. Yes, the centimeter given here is correct. Now here children, when we are comparing this in ratio, centimeter and this meter will remain same thing. We are not supposed to convert it. If the length of the ship is 28 meter, how long is the model ship? Let us first write the details here. So according to detail, it is length of ship, which is given in terms of x, then height of mast. Let us consider the height of the mast as y. Apart from that, what do we have? We have actual ship and we have a model. Okay? Okay. Let us write down from the given part. In a model of a ship, the mast is 9 centimeter high. So, mast is 9 centimeter high. It comes here. Then, while the mast of the actual ship is how much? 12 meter high. Okay. Next part. If the length of the ship is 28 meter, length of the actual ship is 28 meter, height of the mast is 12 meter. What is the length of the model ship? So this is x1, y1, this is x2, this is y2. In terms of centimeter, what we have to see here. Of course, this is in direct proportion. The given details are in direct proportion. That is what we write. So with respect to that, x1, y1 is equal to x2, y2. Substitute the values here. x1 is how much? 28 by 12 is equal to x2 upon 9. So 28 into 9. x2 is equal to 28 into 9 divided by 12. So 4 3s are, 4 7s are, 3 1s are, 3 3s are. x2 is equal to 21 centimeter. Okay, here we are not converting children because what is actual thing, it has to be in centimeter, that will be in centimeter. Okay, the next one. Suppose a 2 kg of sugar contains 9 into 10 raised to 6 crystal. So I can just take 7th one, it is quantity or sugar in kg I will write, or sugar, and this is crystals. Okay, sugar is x and crystals are y. Suppose 2 kg of sugar contains 9 into 10 raised to 6 crystals, x1, y1. How many crystals of sugar are there in y2? 5 kg of sugar. Then, how many crystals are there in y3? 1.2 kg of sugar. Of course, 2 kg sugar, crystals are so many. 5 kg, crystals should be more. Correct? No, it is those small grains of sugar. So this is the given data is in direct proportion. Please write this formula. x1 by y1 is equal to x2 by y2. So what is x1 here? 2 upon 9 into 10 raised to 6. That is equal to, I just cancel. I had planned that 7th one I'll give for homework, but I will drop it because we have decimals. I mean, we have 10 raised to 6 in terms of exponential form we have. So I'll cancel that. Okay. 2 upon 9 into 10 raised to 6 and x2 is 5 upon y2. The first case we will check here. So y2 is equal to, cross multiply, 5 into 9 into 10 raised to 6 divided by 2. Don't touch this 10 raised to 6. 9 5s are 45 into 10 raised to 6 divided by 2. y2 is equal to 2 2s are 4, 2 2s are 4, 2 5s are 10 into 10 raised to 6. Quite a vague answer, 22.5, right? But still, that's your answer, y2. Next part, what we have to find again? x1 y1 is equal to x3 y3. x1 is what? 2 upon 9 into 10 raised to 6 is equal to 1.2 upon y3. Cross multiply. y3 is equal to 1.2 into 9 into 10 raised to 6 divided by 2. 2 ones are 2, 0.6 are 54. 9 6 are 54. So 5.4 into 10 raised to 6. Correct? It is in standard form. Very clear about the answer? How to solve it? Okay. Eighth one. I mark 8th one for homework, children, but I will just give you the tabular column for 8th one, what you are doing. Rashmi has a road map with a scale. So we have a scale representing and distance travel, actual distance travel. So with respect to that, a scale of 1 centimeter, this is x, this is y. So this is x1, y1, representing 18 kilometer. That means, usually, we have a map, we have an India map, or we have any map there. They give you the distance from, okay, this is Karnataka, some other state. When you see the distance, what you see there is in scale. Do you feel that this is the distance between Hubli to Bangalore and Karnataka? Just this much what we feel. But that is not the distance. With respect to the scale what we give. In some corner about the distance map what we have, they will give you the estimation scale, how much it will actually be. With respect to that, it is no conversion required. Then x2, y2. She drives on a road for 72 kilometers. What is the scale representing here? What we have to find out? Very simple. Given, cross multiply. It is in direct proportion? Yes. The given data is in direct proportion. Tabular column is given to you. So how do you do this? x1 by x2 is equal to x2 upon y2. 72 upon 18. Answer will be 4. So this will represent 4 centimeter in the map. And actual distance travelled is 72 kilometers. Very simple here, children. Ninth one. A 5 meter 60 centimeter high vertical pole. So what we will actually do is height of vertical pole. Height of vertical pole, and the next is what? Length of shadow. So this is x and this is y. Length of shadow. Let's read. So the height of the vertical pole casts a shadow. Height of the vertical pole is 5 meter 60 centimeter. I'll just write as it is given. Okay. Then we'll do the conversion. Here only we'll do the conversion and we'll write. This is x1, y1. So this is the length which will cast a shadow of 3 meter 20 centimeter long. Okay. We'll write the actual thing after conversion because one whole either in meter or centimeter we can represent. Read the next part of question. 5 meter 60 centimeter high vertical pole cast a shadow 3 meter 20 centimeter long. Find at the same time the length of the shadow cast by a pole of, that is y2, cast by a pole of 10 meter 50 centimeter high. So this is x2, y2. Okay, y2 what we have to find. Next, the height of the pole which cast the shadow, the height of the pole which cast the shadow 5 meter long. This is y3. This much is given here. Okay. Now, what we will do here is, we have to convert this in terms of completely. Meter we will convert it, 60 centimeter will convert it, children. Now simple, see here. 5 meters in terms of meter, we will just add to this. One conversion I will show. 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter. 60 centimeter is equal to how much? So this will be 60 by 100, which is nothing but 0.6 meter. Okay, 0.6 meter plus 5 meter. Answer is 5.6 meter. So what is this? 5.6 meter. Understood how I wrote it? What will be this? 3.2 meter. What will be this? 10.5 meter. Did you understand how did we convert it? One conversion you can show and just remaining right as it is. Let us find now the given data. Of course, more the height of the pole is more, the shadow also will be bigger. So this is given data is in direct proportion. So x1 by y1 is equal to x2 by y2. So x1 is 5.6 divided by 3.2 is equal to 10.5 divided by y2. Cross multiply. y2 is equal to 10.5 into 3.2 divided by 5.6. This decimal and this decimal will go. I'll do the calculation here. y2 is equal to, so 2 2s are 4, 2 8s are 16, 2 16s are 4 4s are 4 7s are. Further this will not get multiplied. I mean, this is not in the case where you can divide this. You have to only multiply with this and then divide by 7. Oh, 4 4s are 4 7s are. Let me check. Yeah, of course. Once again. By 7 it will go correct. 7 1s are 7. 7 1s are 7. 3 remainder. 7 5s are 35. So, y2. Length 15. 4s are is 60. And right here only y2 is equal to 6 meter. 6.0, that is 60. Very clear? Next, we'll do the calculation of the next part here. This part is over, 6 meter. This we have to calculate. Again, x1 y1 is equal to x3 y3. x1 is how much? 5.6 divided by 3.2, that is equal to x3 divided by 5. Cross multiply. So keep this x3 here only. 5.6 x3 is equal to 5.6 into 5 divided by 3.2. Decimal and decimal will go here. 2 1s are 2 6s are 2 2s are 4, 2 8s are 4 4s are 16, 4 7s are 28. So x3 is equal to 35 by 4. 4 8s are 32, 7 5. x3 is 8.75 meter. That's the answer. Okay. And the last sum. Tenth one. A loaded truck travels 14 km in 25 minutes. So we have distance and we have time. Distance we consider x and time y. So x1, y1. So this is 14 km in 25 minutes. If the speed remains the same, how far it can travel for 5 hours? x2. Now see here, minutes and hours. If it was, okay, kilometer minutes and something in kilometer, it should be in minutes only. 5 hours, I'll convert in terms of minutes, or 25 minutes you can convert in terms of hours. So this I will write as 5 into 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So that is equal to 300 minutes. Is it very clear? Conversion what I have done? Look at the sum, direct proportional inverse. Looking at the data, we'll understand it is a direct proportion. The given data is in direct proportion. Please complete this part. x1 by y1 is equal to x2 by y2. x1 is 14 upon 25, that is equal to x2 upon 300. x2 is equal to 14 into 300 divided by 25. 5 5s are 5 6s are 30, 0, 5 1s are 5 12s are. 14 12s are is 168 kilometer. Done. With this, we complete the exercise as well. We complete today's session. I have given you two homework. The eighth one I have already given a tabular column. You have to just cross multiply. You have to just substitute and multiply and get the answer. You have some extra sums also solved in worked examples. Solve them, you'll be more perfect in first part of direct proportion. So the next session will start with inverse proportion. There we have one or two sums again related with direct proportion. Thank you.